everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be one that I'm pretty sure every YouTuber has done at some stage, and it is the how I deal with haters style video, or how I deal with trolls, bitchiness, whatever you want to call it, how you deal with it. And I think a lot of people do it because A, we get a lot of it. When you put your life online, you do get a lot of it. B, everyone gets a lot of it, to be honest. Like, if you have a social media account, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, whatever, if you put something online that's a part of your life, then you're sort of opening yourself up to scrutiny. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the time until, you know, you have someone who you know or someone who you don't know come across and criticize an aspect of your life. And how to deal with that is becoming something which is more and more relevant these days because it's something that people are having to deal with more often. So I'm going to talk a little bit, firstly, how I deal with that online hate. And then I want to talk a little bit about how I deal with the hate in real life as well, because they're two very different things, obviously, and I deal with them in two very different ways. So I'm going to start off with the online stuff because it's what's most relevant. And to be honest, I receive the most of my hate from online. Not that there's much of it. I've been very fortunate in that I don't get much online hate having a YouTube channel or having two YouTube channels. There are a lot of people out there who get a lot more than what I do, and I'm very grateful for that. But sometimes I do get hate, and sometimes it is difficult to deal with. So I'm going to talk about how I deal with that, and then later move on to how I deal with it in real life as well. So to start out with, I started my YouTube journey about 6 years ago when I started my family vlogging channel. Back then it wasn't a family vlogging channel, it was just basically me doing pregnancy updates when I was 19. And then later down the track, we did 3 solid years of daily vlogs. And when you're doing 3 solid years, showing your life every single day, you're putting a lot of yourself out there for scrutiny. And like I said, I got a little bit of it. Even on these videos, I get a little bit of it. There's always gonna be someone out there who disagrees with something you're doing for whatever reason. And at first I found it really difficult to deal with, because when you're having someone who you don't know or doesn't know you very well scrutinize a part of your life, it's hard not to jump on the defense and want to defend yourself. And over the years, obviously you become a little bit better at navigating the whole online trolling situation, and I've come up with a few strategies that I use now which help me deal with it in, I feel like, a fairly effective way. So these days, the first thing I do when I receive a negative comment is question, are they right? An example of this was a couple of weeks ago on our daily vlogging channel, where someone pointed out that my foundation did not match my neck. And she said it in a really negative way. Like, she was criticizing, saying, Ashley, for God's sakes, like, get your facial act together. All this is just not working for you. Doesn't look good, you look foul. And that was really obviously hurtful for someone to say something like that about you. But I did question, hey Ash, does your foundation match your neck? The answer was no, it didn't. And that's just part and parcel with being someone who tans some of the time and then doesn't tan other parts of the time. Sometimes you're not going to always match your foundation to your neck. And I was like, okay, well, while they haven't said it in a nice way, they're actually right. I'm not going to take the real negative feedback that they gave me on board, but I am going to take the fact that they were right about my foundation color on board. I'm not going to let myself get upset about it. I'm just going to say, yep, I'll take that. I'll change my foundation. And to be honest, I didn't have to do that. If I wanted to continue wearing the wrong color for my complexion, then I could have done that and it wouldn't have been a problem. So the second question I do ask myself is, do I care? Sometimes I'll get a comment about something completely different. It might be, I've had comments before from people, to be honest, questioning whether or not I love Archie as much as I love my other children, which is obviously ridiculous. I don't know why someone would get that vibe from the way that I parent, because no good parent is gonna love one child more than the other. But someone got that vibe, and I said to myself straight away, are they right? Of course they're not, no way. And do I care? No, I don't. So they're wrong, I don't really care. Sometimes if it's a really like completely outward comment like that, it's best to ignore it. And it's very hard to ignore it. It's very hard to ignore people being critical of your life and not want to rip into them. But sometimes they're just saying it to get to you. And it's important to be able to recognize when someone's just saying something just to get to you. Other times I like to question whether or not the person genuinely thinks what they're saying. So if, for example, someone said, "Hey Ash, I don't mean to say this in a mean way, but I've noticed that in your videos, you tend to feature the other kids more than what you feature Archie. Is this because you favor the other children more than what you favor Archie? Hashtag no offense." Even though that's something that's still completely ludicrous, I feel like if someone positioned a question to me in that way, I would probably respond to it. Because in that instance, I do like to consider if what they're seeing is something that I'm putting out there. That person may have got the impression from something that I was doing that I did not love one of my children as much as what I loved the other children. So not only do I want to consider that in the kind of content that I'm showing you guys, but I also want to be able to defend myself. So I would probably jump on and say, "Hey, thanks for the concern. At this time in Archie's life, he does not like to be on camera as much as what the other children do. He doesn't have as much of an interest in being on the camera as what the other kids do. And I'm trying to be respectful to his feelings, even though he is only very little." And then in that instance, it's evident that online you can have social or cultural or language barriers that prevent people from understanding what is going on in your video or in your picture or whatever you're putting online. And so being able to understand that and acknowledge that the person who's watching and criticizing might just be speaking from, you know, a stance where they don't understand what's going on because they're from a different country, because they speak a different language. And so being able to explain that and be conscientious of that can help you in the long run, because you're explaining it for future people who come along and think the same thing. So in short, sometimes you are going to get things online that you should just turn a blind eye to, and then sometimes it is important to respond to the person who has something negative to say about you. And a lot of the time, these videos where they say how I deal with the hate, most of the time it's ignore, block, delete, or just ignore what they're saying, or screw you haters, you can't say anything bad about me. I'm confident in my own skin and you can't make me feel bad about myself, which is a good attribute to have in yourself. But then again, it is good to be able to reflect on your own actions as well and take on the criticisms of other people if you feel that does have any value. So that covers how I deal with the hate online. And in a way, that is how I approach bitchiness in real life. Like, I do try to listen to what the person is saying and see if I do think they're right, if there is any value in what they're saying, and how I can change that aspect about myself if I do acknowledge that it's something negative about me. And sometimes you may not agree with what they're saying. So at that point, it's important to be able to ask yourself, like, who is the person that you're talking to? Are they someone who you love and you value their opinion and their friendship? Are they someone who wouldn't go out of their way to say something to hurt you unless it was really important, or that, you know, you really needed a reality check? Or are they someone who you've never met before and don't really respect the opinion of? Are they incorrect in what they're saying? There's lots of different questions to ask yourself when it comes to dealing with someone in real life. And the majority of the time, I think you find that when you're dealing with someone who's being like a hater in real life, it's often not to your face, it's often through other people. And I guess that's what I think of when I think of bitchiness. It's like a group of people like talking about you and not coming to your face, or taking group actions against you. And that's really, really hard in real life. And once again, I'll say that I don't really get it as an adult, but when you feel like a group of people are ganging up against you, it's hard not to take what they're doing or what they're saying on board, because you feel outnumbered, and it's not fair when people do that. And while I haven't really had to deal with groups of bitchiness as an adult, I think most of the time it is good to ignore it. If they are someone you've been friends with for a long time, maybe do try and confront them. But in the long run, if you've got someone who's ganging up on you and being bitchy in that sense, maybe it's time to cut them loose, because ladies don't act like that. Classy ladies do not gang up on each other. We should be trying to empower each other and not bring each other down in person and on the internet. So that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I probably just gas bagged on for this entire video because I know how long it's taken me to film this video. I don't know how much I can condense it, but I hope you guys understood where I was getting at with the things that I was saying. Obviously, there's a lot of different opinions to be had, so I'm so keen to hear what you guys think, how you guys deal with these kinds of situations, and what techniques you guys have learned along the way in order to cope with different kinds of people that you meet in life, whether it be online or in person. Thank you very much for watching watching today's video, you guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch it. Give it a big thumbs up if you like these kinds of videos or topics that are a little bit more controversial. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, and that little bell icon as well if you actually want to be notified when these videos go up. Other than that, I want to thank you guys again for watching today, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye.